Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. With me, as always, our supercars expert, Mr. Adam Lemerise. Please feel free to comment in the chat room below and ask any questions. Tonight, we'll discuss the surprising news involving the Red Bull Honda Formula One team, Jeb Burton's uncertain future in NASCAR, Matt White's here with the Grid World Motorsport League update, and the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series schedule, which was released over the weekend. And we'll start off talking about Red Bull's power unit. It's no secret that Honda is going to exit Formula One at the end of the year and Red Bull taking over its own engine program. We've learned recently that Honda is still pushing very hard until the very end of its partnership with Red Bull, beginning at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, where we didn't see any actual racing behind the safety car in those treacherous wet weather conditions. That was the first race Red Bull gave Max Verstappen the upgraded engine from Honda that put him on the pole, the same upgraded engine that dominated at Zandvoort up in the Netherlands and got the pole at Monza before the collision with Sir Lewis Hamilton that ended Max's race. So here's the first question of the evening for you, Adam. Are you surprised that Red Bull was able to keep the secret of this engine upgrade quiet from the public?
But of course, you know, I'm really surprised to see this. And with this upgrade for Red Bull, they may have the advantage now for the rest of the season. Yesterday on ESPN's Outside the Lines, host Jeremy Schaff did an interview with former Formula One world champion and Sky Sports announcer Damon Hill about this intense rivalry between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. It's got fans from all across the world who normally may not watch Formula One to tune in this year to see this great battle between Red Bull and Mercedes. The Mercedes is going to have to find a way to respond, or it could be a runaway for not only Red Bull Honda in the Constructor Championship, but Max Verstappen could be looking at a Formula One Drivers' Championship this year.
To be honest, I'm absolutely stunned that we're just now learning about this upgraded engine from Red Bull and Honda because usually we know when these teams are going to be updating these cars. We hear it ahead of races. Like for example, Ferrari is going to be bringing an updated hybrid system, I believe, to Sochi, Russia this upcoming weekend for the Russian Grand Prix, and that's the type of stuff that we're used to. Like, oh, they're bringing an update, but a few races in, we are just now learning that Red Bull got an updated engine, and it shows you how hard Red Bull and Honda are working behind behind the scenes to make sure this drivers' championship is going to be possible for Max Verstappen. And the new energy storage or ES upgrade includes improvement in energy efficiency, significant reduction in weight, fitted with a lighter, low resistant, highly efficient, ultra high battery power. And this late in the game, with the number of races in the 2021 season running out, Honda is still showing extreme commitment to going out on top with a title by giving Max Verstappen the best shot at defeating Hamilton and Mercedes. I know you already talked a little bit about this, Adam, but going to give you an opportunity to expand. Could the engine upgrade be the ultimate difference maker in this world championship and give Max the advantage over Lewis the rest of the season? And how specifically does Mercedes respond to this, I guess, power play move by Red Bull and Honda?
Oh, well, it has been said on social media that Mercedes has been looking for an engine upgrade as well, but that could have grid penalties associated with it. But like I just said, it's Red Bull made this move. They're right now, I think it's their manufacturer's championship and driver's championship to lose. Max, we saw what happened at Zandvoort. We saw what happened at Monza. Max Verstappen is going to find a way to win this championship. And Mercedes, they better not look in the rearview mirror. Otherwise, it could be. So long, Mercedes. Hello, Red Bull. Manufacturers and drivers world championship.
Yes, it's going to be really interesting to see how the championship battle heats up as we enter this final stretch of the season, and once we get to the season finale at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, we may refer back to our conversation we're having right now. Adam, be like, yes, we were right. This engine upgrade by Red Bull put Max Verstappen out ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and it was the ultimate difference maker, which gave Max his very first ever world championship. And as for Mercedes' response, I'm not really sure if they have any more significant upgrades to their cars at the moment, but but if they do, watch out. This battle could get even more intense, and maybe we'll see less contact. But the rivalry between Max and Lewis is going to be on and popping, and everybody's going to have their popcorn watching every Formula One race for the rest of the season because the drama is absolutely at an all-time high.
And the ratings will go through the roof. And now we move to the NASCAR Xfinity Series. As announced on NASCAR Race Hub last night, Stephen Parsons will be full-time in the Xfinity Series in 2022, driving for BJ McLeod Motorsports. His sponsors will be Sokol Digital and Advertising and Spring Rate Automotive Suspension Source. Stephen is the son of former NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series driver Phil Parsons. And we take a look on the screen right here at the new logo for the Xfinity Series in 2022. Kobe, I think it's time that I believe you've got a feature on another NASCAR Xfinity Series driver with a famous NASCAR father.
Yes, another NASCAR Xfinity Series driver with another famous father, and as we all know in motorsports, it's a business at the end of the day. And one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, although he's not currently signed on a roster right now, Cam Newton once said, "Too bad they don't make band-aids for feelings." And you have to carry the energy in the motorsports world as well, because if you don't perform or have the funding, you simply just won't have a ride. Unfortunately for NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff competitor Jeb Burton, he faces an uncertain future in NASCAR. At playoff media day, Burton shedded some light on the high stakes regarding 2022, and you can read all about it in my colleague from the Podium Finish, Nathan Solomon's article, link in the video description below. To summarize, Burton's full-time ride this year in Xfinity with Collegiate Racing is his first full season since the year 2015 when he drove for BK Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. With sponsorship so hard to come by, it's left Burton on the sidelines and running select races for 5 years prior to the colleague deal this year. Last year, ran part-time with JR Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. He got some strong finishes and select starts and put himself in position to replace Cup Series bound Ross Chastain at Colleague Racing at number 10 Chevrolet Camaro. Burton has one win entering the Xfinity Series playoffs in a rain-shortened race at Talladega in the spring, and he's been largely consistent throughout the season. Colleague Racing previously announced they purchased two charters to run in the NASCAR Cup Series. Next year, they'll be running full time with Justin Haley in one entry, but it hasn't been determined what they're going to do with the second charter. But it's announced AJ Allmendinger will get some races in that car as well. And with Colleague running three full time Xfinity cars this season, they're evaluating whether or not they're going to downsize their Xfinity Series program next year, meaning Burton could be in a fight to stay with the team, especially after the major blow recently. Jeb Burton's primary sponsor, Nutrient Ag Solutions, announced they won't return in 2022. Burton says he's unsure if it's about his future, but he's focusing on the final 7 races, fighting for wins, and hopefully going to Phoenix, fighting for a NASCAR Xfinity Series championship. He also acknowledged that this could be it. This could be the final 7 races. And his father, Ward Burton, responded on Twitter saying it's a very unfortunate situation for Jeb, but they're working very hard to make sure that he has a ride in NASCAR next season. Adam, how stressful is it for drivers to perform well throughout the season, especially when your primary backer is pulling out this late in the year and your racing future put in limbo?
Oh, it's very stressful. I feel so sorry for Jeb Burton. He is a very consistent driver, like you said, Kobe. He competes with Colleague Racing in the Xfinity Series. Low to tell, And like you also said, his father is former NASCAR driver and Daytona 500 winner Ward Burton, who used to compete for the legendary Bill Davis in the NASCAR Cup Series back in the day. I hope, I hope Jeb Burton finds a full-time ride next year to compete because he's very strong. He's very efficient. I know he has only one Xfinity win, and that came at the rain shortened race in Talladega. Hopefully next year he does get a full-time ride. And I know it's really stressful, to hear his sponsor not returning, but Jeb Burton, he belongs in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Loads and loads of talent. I know he's not, to me, he's a top 5, to me, he is a candidate to compete for top 5s and top 10s every week. So I hope that Jeb Burton does find a full-time ride in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2022.
I definitely think Jeb Burton has proved that he's worthy to be in that Kaulig race and Chevrolet Camaro, and it's just super unfortunate this type of stuff happens, especially at this point in the season, because a lot of drivers start working on next year just a couple of months ago, and to get the news about one of his primary sponsors, Nutri and Ag Solutions, pulling out right now, understand how frustrating and stressful that can be, because in terms of finding the ride for next year, he might be a little behind the 8 ball here, and he'll definitely need to pick up the pace and make sure that he can try to find something good for next season. Try to find something competitive, even if it's part time. Jeb is no stranger to running a part time schedule. Look what he did last year in the number 8 car for Junior Motorsports. He could do something like that again. Less races and competitive equipment until he's able to put together another full time deal like he did this year in 2021 with Kaulig racing. I think Jeb is a strong, consistent driver. Has good results. Made the playoffs this year. Now he has an opportunity to go out there and win a championship and make these the 7 best races of his career. And we'll definitely see where it goes from here. And also doesn't hurt when your father is Ward Burton, and like Ward was said on Twitter, it's an unfortunate situation, but he's going to be working hard with Jeb to make sure he's in NASCAR next year, whether it's in the Truck Series, back in Xfinity, or the Cup Series. And I'm sure they're going to work very hard to make sure that they can put together a good program for the 2022 NASCAR season. Next, here's a Grid World Motorsport League update from Matt White.
Hi everybody, Matt White here from the Grid World Motorsport League. Time for this week's top 10 update from the Grid WML, week number 30 of scoring. So we're closing in now we're into the final stretch, I suppose you could say, with about 2 months worth of scoring to go, and we end just at the beginning of December, so about three months to go. Week 30, Timmy Hansen is still the leader, his 3rd week at the top, but the Hansen brothers are now split. They were 1st and 2nd. Kevin has slipped to 8th after the double header for World Rallycross at Latvia, at Riga in Latvia. Neither of them won either of the rounds over the weekend. That's the first time that they've been beaten this season. Nicholas Gronholm won on Saturday. Johan Kristoffersen, the world champion, finally got his first win of the year on Sunday in the Audi. So Kevin slips to 8th, Timmy still leads. Nicholas Maulini was 2nd in the ELMS NMP3 race at Spa on Sunday afternoon, so he is back into 2nd place in the Grid World Motorsport League. His score has slipped slightly, but he is now back up into 2nd. Shane Van Gisbergen still holding in 3rd. Still no news quite yet, although we should hopefully get a calendar soon for when the Repco Supercars Championship is back in action between now and the end of the season. Some shuffling behind. Jason O'Halloran had a non-score on Saturday at Silverstone in the British Superbike Championship when he had a run-in with Taron McKenzie, his teammate. Came back to win one of the races on Sunday, so he's slipped slightly as well. As is Jonathan Ray, who had a topsy-turvy weekend at Barcelona. As is top back Razgat Lioglu, both of them now separated by 1 point in the World Superbike standings. They're back in action this week at Jerez. We've also got BSB, their first round of their playoff this week as well, so at Alton Park, so that's exciting. More British touring cars as well for a 2nd week back to back there at Silverstone, so all happening across the weekend. Big week of NASCAR as well in Las Vegas as well. And at Sochi we've got the Grand Prix for F1. Can Lewis or Max get themselves back into the top 10? Formula 2 is back in action for a 2nd week in a row, and we'll have the final week of Formula 3 action. Dennis Hauger has one hand on the trophy. Can he complete his glorious season for the Prema team by capturing the championship in Sochi this weekend? We'll have a full top 10 update for you on next week's show, week number 31 of Scoring. We'll catch you then.
And last week, we brought you the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and this week, it's the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series schedule. And taking a look at the schedule right here on the screen, you immediately notice 17 races with 14 races being shown on Big NBC in front of a national audience. IndyCar's TV schedule for next year is definitely the perfect storm for a series on the rise, and the only races not being shown on NBC, the race in Detroit at Belle Isle, now a single race, no longer a doubleheader weekend that will be shown on USA Network. The short oval race at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway, also on USA Network. Finally, if the pandemic improves by next July, IndyCar returns to the streets of Toronto on Peacock streaming. This is probably a smart move by Roger Penske to shift Toronto over to Peacock, especially with the uncertain situation surrounding COVID north of the border in Canada. However, looking at the ratings on NBC last weekend at Laguna Seca, it was hard for IndyCar to go up against the NFL like many people probably expected. Adam Stern from the Sports Business Journal shared the numbers from Showbuzz Daily going up against the end of the 1 p.m. Eastern Time NFL games and the beginning of the 4 p.m. Eastern Time games. IndyCar Laguna Seca on the NBC broadcast got a 0.44 rating or 715,000 viewers compared to 2019's race. Last time they were there didn't go last year because of the pandemic, which saw a 0.50 rating or 732,000 viewers. The next year's season finale will take place at Laguna Seca on September 11th. I know a lot of fans would really like for the IndyCar season to end a little bit later, maybe in early October. Adam, do you think the IndyCar season should last longer, or is ending in September a good idea to avoid going up against the NFL and potentially the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs?
Well, I think the IndyCar Series should be a little longer. Yeah, we always talk about running on road courses and street circuits, and ovals. Well, a lot of you may not remember, but the IndyCar Series back in the day ran on an airport. Yeah, at the legendary Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland, Ohio, which was successful for many, many years. So why not have IndyCar go back to an airport circuit? I don't know which airport they could do, but I know it would take time to do a course at an airport. But also, why not go back to some of these cities that used to host an IndyCar race? What about places like Denver, Colorado, hosted an IndyCar race for many years? The streets of San Jose, California. We all remember that course, especially with them going over the train tracks. Why not have a street course in maybe Las Vegas, Nevada? There's so many possibilities of where IndyCar could go. For me, I'd hope the IndyCar Series would last a little longer and give the fans some more competitive action from this historic and iconic series.
Yes, I also agree with you. I really like to see the IndyCar Series last a little bit longer, but given the current climate, the NFL games, I must admit, those games on Sunday, both 1 p.m. and 4, those games were pretty close, pretty exciting. And I'm not sure if Roger Penske and IndyCar will want to go up against those NFL games. So that's why my prediction is, although a lot of people probably won't like to hear this, I think the IndyCar season for the foreseeable future is going to end in early to mid-September to avoid going up against any NFL games, but I definitely would love to see it extend a little bit longer, maybe late September, early October, and then come back late February, early March. And while we're talking about the season going longer, the 2022 season is actually going to start much earlier next year with the season opener at St. Pete on February 27th. Texas Motor Speedway gets an early date on NBC March 20th. However, there's a problem with the day at Texas Motor Speedway because it clashes with a crown jewel race. It's happening on the same weekend as the IMSA Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Traditionally, we see some IndyCar drivers cross over into IMSA for the Rolex 24 Sebring and the season ending Petit Le Mans. With IndyCar commitments on Sunday afternoon, running Sebring next year might be an impossible task for the IndyCar drivers. How unfortunate is it to see Texas clash with Sebring?
Oh, for me, I feel to, I know a lot of IndyCar drivers love, start the year by running the Rolex 24 Hours Daytona and going over to compete in the Mobil 1 12-hour Sebring. I know with the schedule next year, they have to go to Texas Motor Speedway. And so, I know it's unfortunate, but maybe down the road, some IndyCar drivers can go back and compete at the Mobil 1 12 hours of Sebring. We all know like people like Scott Dixon has run with Chip Ganassi Racing at the 24 hours Daytona and the 12 hours Sebring. So maybe down the road it won't clash with that historic race at Sebring International Raceway in Sebring, Florida.
Yes, it's super unfortunate that we're going to see that race clash, but to get an oval Texas Motor Speedway on national television on big NBC as we call it, I think that was an opportunity that Roger Penske could not refuse at all. So I understand the business side of making that call, move Texas Motor Speedway to March, although it's season weekend. That was probably a wonderful opportunity for the IndyCar Series to be seen in a lot more homes, and is really frustrating. I understand for the drivers who typically run the Michelin Endurance Cup races, and we don't usually see many IndyCar drivers run the 6-hour race at Watkins. It's usually the Daytona Rolex 24, 12 hours of Sebring, and the 10-hour Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. And usually the IMSA teams like to keep those endurance driver lineups the same for Daytona, Sebring, and Road Atlanta. So if IndyCar drivers don't run the 12 hours of Sebring next year, that could potentially put them out of the seat for the Endurance Cup. I mean, they would still be able to be the fourth driver if they're I guess if they're able to find a ride for the Rolex 24, they can be the fourth driver in that. But Sebring, Road Atlanta, the teams might decide to go with another driver, and overall it's just a really frustrating situation. I find it really hard to believe, given the schedule, that we're going to see a driver fly to Sebring on Saturday, run a 12-hour race, and then get ready to run an oval race at over 215 miles per hour. I just really do not see that happen at all. And plus we don't know what the schedule is, because I'm sure if qualifying is on a Saturday, they're not going to want to miss that, because IndyCar will be the number one priority that weekend. And looking at the schedule once again, after Texas, Long Beach returns to its traditional date in the spring. It's a season finale coming up this weekend in 2021. And kicking off the month of May, got 3 races: Barber Motorsports Park, the IMS Road Course, and the 106th Indianapolis 500, a single race at Belle Isle. No more doubleheader weekend. Then Road America on June 12th, and there's another unfortunate clash with another crown jewel race. IndyCar drivers won't be able to race in the 24 Hours of Le Mans because it's happening on the exact same weekend. And then we have a really busy month in July with Mid-Ohio, Toronto Street Course, the return of Iowa Speedway, a doubleheader short oval weekend, and the IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader back at the Brickyard on the IMS Road Course. Looking at Iowa, another oval on the schedules. So next year, 2022, we're going to be racing at 4 oval tracks and a total of 5 oval races. And a lot of fans have really been asking for more IndyCar oval races. In your opinion, Adam, should IndyCar add more ovals in the future? If yes, which oval tracks should they consider?
Oh, yeah, they should run on some more ovals, and I give the fans some that they should add. NASCAR only has one day at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Well, why not take IndyCars there? They have raced there in the past. It's New England. There's so much to see and do in that part of the country. Plus, you wouldn't be far from places like Boston, Massachusetts, Concord, New Hampshire, Portland, Maine. It'd be cool, for the IndyCar drivers to go see and explore that part of the country. And for you viewers, know, yes, and for a lot of the viewers, I have talked about that I lived in New Hampshire for a long time. And I can say I did see the IndyCars once race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, back then called New Hampshire International Speedway. Why not go to Richmond International Raceway in Virginia? Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Why not go back to maybe try Dover International Speedway? There's so many iconic ovals in this country, and maybe once the pandemic is, almost maybe when the pandemic eases a little bit, maybe why not go back to Rockingham Raceway in England? That's an oval track where the IndyCars used to race at. I think IndyCar should consider running a lot more ovals to give people like Scott McLaughlin, Romain Grosjean, and some of these drivers who haven't run on an oval in their past where they used to race some more experience on these types of tracks.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Adam. I want to see more ovals on the IndyCar schedule as well. I want to see a different variety of ovals. I want to see those super speedways, those mile-and-a-half tracks, and also those short ovals as well. I know in 2022, I was hoping we'd be shocked and we see Auto Club Speedway in Fontana back on the IndyCar schedule one final time before they're going to tear down one of those the super speedway there and convert it into a short track for NASCAR events. Because I remember the 2015 MAV TV 500. That was one of the most exciting IndyCar races I've ever watched. Also one of the most terrifying because that could have ended so badly, and those drivers took care of each other so well. The racing was great from start to finish. This was overall the absolute most thrilling IndyCar race I've ever watched in my life. And I'd really like to see that one more time before they tear down the super speedway in Fontana. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, but we have a couple of more super speedways still out there. Michigan International Speedway. I think that could be an option potentially. Maybe a return to Pocono. I'm not so sure because a lot of people obviously have really bad memories of those scary crashes that we've seen over there in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, mile and a half. Kentucky Speedway just sitting there. Why not go there? Maybe a return to Chicagoland. Not really sure what the situation is there, and look at the mile and a half on the NASCAR calendar. I'm not sure if IndyCar will be able to go to any of those considering NASCAR's business dealings. And before the pandemic, we were going to race at the short oval at Richmond Raceway, and unfortunately, that never materialized, and it did not come back to the schedule. I really like to see IndyCar race at Richmond as well. And overall, I think if we add a different variety of ovals, short ovals, your mile and a half tracks, and then the big super speedways, Michigan and potentially Pocono, along with the current ovals we have now, I think it would be a really good schedule. Also, with the road courses we have, I like to see that rotate a bit as well. I think it's a shame that IndyCar's not racing at Watkins Glen right now. I think IndyCar should be racing at that track because it's one of the most iconic facilities in North America, and it's well respected around the world. And I definitely really want to see IndyCar go back to the Glen because I feel like they deserve to be racing there and completing the rest of the 2022 IndyCar schedule. Got 2 races in August. The Nashville street race return is going to be interesting to see if they make some updates to the track after the inaugural race just a short while ago, and then the Gateway Short Oval. Finally, the 2022 season concludes with Portland International Raceway and Laguna Seca as the season finale. And please let us know down in the comments below if you'll be attending an IndyCar race in 2022, especially if it's going to be the Grand Prix of Portland, because Grid Network intends to return for race coverage for a second consecutive year.
And now here's some news from Lucas Degrassi. Last weekend, Venturi announced that Lucas Degrassi will be team race with Eduardo Montara in next year's Formula E World Championship. Well, Lucas Degrassi ain't done racing yet with Audi because he'll be competing in the iconic, legendary DTM for the last 2 races of the year, driving for Abt Motorsports, as you can see in the picture on the screen. Lucas Degrassi's paint scheme reflects his Formula E World Championship in season 3. He'll be driving number 37 Audi RM for Abt Motorsports. and he'll be competing at two iconic tracks that the DTM has raised out for many years. The legendary Hockenheim Circuit, which has hosted the Formula One Grand Prix Germany in the past, and the iconic track in Nuremberg, Germany, known as the Norris Ring. So let us know in the comments if you'll be watching Lucas Degrassi compete in these last two races of the 2021 DTM season. Kobe, time to wrap up another edition of Grid Tonight.
Yes, another show in the books, and please be sure to subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. Also, you can be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We encourage you to visit our Patreon page and invest in us. Big shout out to Colin, Mark, Deshelle, and Robin H. for supporting us. We greatly appreciate your investment in Grid Network, and also be sure to check out Pawbless. Please consider spoiling your furry friend. They have dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescued dogs. Please visit public.com, the stock market, social media home. The link below and referral code gives you $5 to invest right away. Public.com will allow you to connect with your friends. You can make new friends and use tools to learn how to invest in the stock market. And looking at the upcoming weekly schedule, on Thursday morning, we have a brand new episode of the Women Racing to Win. Saturday, we're back on the air for Grid Live Periods, and Sunday, Grid Live Wrap-Up. Stay tuned for scheduling updates. For Adam Lemerise, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.